And now, his view, an editorial opinion by Bill Martin.
We have enjoyed the privilege of interviewing Tim Houston for well over 5 years. It began way back when he was the leader of the opposition, trying to make a mark big enough to be recognized. He said he would appear on our morning talk show once a month, and he has never missed. I still remember the day when I asked him on the air if he would still be our guest after he became premier. He seemed shocked by the question, because at that time he had been written off in the polls, and his surprise suggested he, too, might have doubted what was soon to follow. And during our chats since then, he has often talked about his window of opportunity as premier. He seemed to understand that his time in office was a temporary thing. I went so far as to suggest that 8 to 10 years seemed to be the modern standard, roughly 2 terms. I also told him why. Being premier is a tough and somewhat thankless job. It requires that the office holder make difficult decisions, and with each and every choice he makes, a little chip falls off his approval rating. It does not require a bad decision, it just requires a decision, as each time he chooses, somebody out there disagrees. Add up those disagreements, one by one, over a couple of terms in office, and you have the makings of an electoral defeat. And that brings us to today. On the heels of an historic election win, a record-setting supermajority, the first cracks in Tim Houston's window of opportunity have begun to appear, and they are entirely self-inflicted. The generally affable premier has given his electorate reason to question. It is a classic case of perception versus reality. It goes with that old saying, that which is perceived as real is real in all its consequences. The governments have always been criticized by their opponents as being heavy-handed. It goes with the fact that they have a majority, of course. And among the first bullet points in the Opposition 101 handbook is to claim the government doesn't listen, claim they use their majority to cut off debate, to limit discussion, even to avoid answering. It is the opposition's job to hold the government to account, but the modern translation of that is to nitpick, plant seeds of doubt, twist the facts, and of course, undermine. It's not bad enough that time itself will erode confidence in a government, but today's opposition tactics are geared to pour fuel around any sparks. Today, with that aforementioned supermajority, Houston is under a super magnified magnifying glass. His handling of power is now the question. It is not so much of what he does, but how he does it. And the first session of the supermajority suggests he is wobbling a little under the spotlight. He has reopened the debate on fracking and mining, 2 concerns that most Nova Scotians had thought had been put to rest once and for all. He has revealed a tiff with the Auditor General, a watchdog that should remain untouchable to any government. Can she be fired? Certainly, but for cause, like everybody else. The Premier might say he is just opening these thorny topics for discussion, but with that, he has also opened the door to perception. And as I noted earlier, the perceptions may not be real, but their consequences certainly are. At least, that's my view. I'm Bill Martin.